Okay, again, thank you, Reza. It's a polling time again. How many of you think you can be CEO one day? How many of you who are female and think you can be CEO one day, please stand up. And hopefully one day, we want to see you on stage and be here at the number YCM Summit, and you'll be on stage and sharing your CEO experience. And I hope you can do it. Siti Kamara, you want to add?
I don't want to dominate the Q&A sessions or anything, but I disagree when you're saying that women are actually people who clean up the mess. I mean, I was just talking to the CEO of the Minority Shareholders Watchdog Group, and she said she's pretty much cleaning up the mess, and that's pretty much the perception that you have. There are women who are risk takers. The fact that I actually worked in Sydney for 4.5 years showed that I took a risk. Not many women would have done that. And I think there are a lot of women around here would have shown they would have taken risks to invest in markets, in emerging markets, for example. So it's a perception, really. And I'm not asking that you actually give an opportunity for women. But what I'm trying to do is to actually change that perception that women can be as equally good or better than men. Thank you.
Thank you, Zafrul. You want to have a take on that?
Thank you, Chen. First, let me qualify. I'm within the YCM age group. Not like Uncle Johan and Uncle Reza. So I think I can better answer that question. Sorry, Reza. Anyway, yeah. First, please bear in mind that we have a governor, which is a lady. We have a Securities Commission chairperson, who is a lady. We used to have quite a number of civil servants who are senior ladies. 3 CEOs of banks in Malaysia are ladies. So to say that ladies are not at par with men in terms of perception, I think it's not totally accurate. I think the perception in Malaysia, especially definitely within our age group, is the women are there in terms of their capabilities as CEO. And I've seen men who are meticulous as well, Reza. And when looking at, sorry, he's gonna get back at me later. Can't send my CV to Conferry. Looking at, in terms of the industry that I am in, we've seen in terms of number of staff, in terms of HR. That I think we've seen more and more women coming on stream. I'm sure PwC is similar. So I think this is a misperception perhaps by the women. For us, I don't see any difference between, when we look at talent management, promotions, even to the role of CEOs of our subsidiaries, it doesn't matter to us whether it's a guy or a girl, or man or woman. It's basically based on merit. Thank you.
Okay. May I add something? In our firm we have we have partners, we have managers, and we have everybody else, and 2/3 of all of our people are women, and 30% or nearly 1/3 of our partners are women, which is the highest percentage in the world, apart from Thailand. Thailand, strangely enough, is the same. And you go to London, I mean, they will target 30%, maybe 20 years' time. New York, same thing. There's something way beyond their reach. They just can't see when that day will come. We're already there, and we're looking for 50%. So how will that move? I can only see that moving inexorably in professional services like ourselves. I think women are already there, quite frankly. There are certain areas where women are there, and obviously role models are there in regulation that you mentioned, Tengku. In banking, I think we have 3 now, but we've had others who have retired before. So we've had a number of banking CEOs. Certain areas are, and I wouldn't really say, Reza, that it's at certain stages where it's like expansion stage or cleanup stage, turnaround stage. Men or women are better. I would have thought they're all the same. But I think men and women do have different, if you like, unique skills, if you like, or bring to the table. And I think a diversity is what is important. So in a management team, I think you've got to have women. And we're getting there. You know, in Malaysia we got one, and that's not many, but with the next layer is like a lot of women there. So the next time around will be more. But women bring a number of things, and I would say one of these is a sort of inherent feeling of you know, integrity is important to women. And I'm not just saying this, but I have seen it quoted that when MACC has made arrests, okay, for every 15 men that they arrest, one woman they will arrest. Now, maybe women are more clever and are just not getting arrested, but maybe that tells you something about integrity standards and so on. And so I'm not saying men or women are more integrity and all that, but I think we need both in any management team to really make it a good one, or a board of directors. And what worries me about companies is board of directors very important, corporate governance extremely important. However, what percentage of board of directors of public listed companies in Malaysia are women? 7%. That is below the rest of the world. And that, I think, is something that shows that there are certain areas they have not managed to penetrate. And that has to be the next one. Thank you.
Okay, we have heard from like some of the opinions talk about is fair, some is it not fair for these gender issues. And I think we'll turn it around to you. So now the question to you is, do you think in your company or organization that you're working in, is gender equality happens? You must vote yes or no. For those that vote yes, please raise your hand. For those that vote no, and the rest of you, fall asleep. Let's try again. Okay, I want everyone to raise your hand. Okay, I'll turn it around now. For those that vote that there is no gender equality in office, please raise your hand. No gender equality. For those that vote that there is gender equality, please raise your hand. Okay, so I think resoundingly the majority, 90% of you vote that there is. So I think there is hope, and hopefully one day the percentage of director and public listed company will have much better balance. Okay, let's switch gear a bit and let's talk about one of the key words that we have in today's topic, talent, the word talent. Okay, let me pose this to Reza first. How will you define talent? Just now they all said that they are talented. So what is your definition of talent?
They are females. I gotta redeem myself. How do you define talent? I think, you know, high talent, how we define, at least in Korn Ferry's terminology, is that they are high performers and they are high potentials. So you can be a high performer, but if you're a low potential, then you're probably gonna, you know, your succession is probably gonna be a bit slow. The intervention for that person, for example, could be more in terms of technical trainings and so on and so forth. But if you are a high potential and a high performer, that's when the interventions in terms of the training would be different. For example, in terms of, you know, negotiation skills, you know, engagement skills, whatever it may be. So I think it is that X factor that one wants to look at in you. I'll share with you a story. I mean, you know, often when there are interviews, if you just go back to 2 steps back in terms of acquisition of talent, often the comments that I would hear is that, you know, it's not so much that the person is technically sound, right? Or he comes from a good school or whatever, but it is that X factor that normally the interviewer would be looking for. Am I right? And that's when that balance in terms of the individual, whether that person was a public speaker, whether he's active or she's active in sports, whatever it is, members of YCM, of course, I think all this helps. Because when you again, you just go 2 steps back. When somebody interviews you, they were already looking for that X factor. Yeah? And with that X factor, as you move along in your career in an organization, that's when identification of high talents happened. And when that happens, the intervention for those clusters of people would also be different against those who are probably high performers but low potential.